He's Donna saying it.
No.
Well, if we can cooperate and everybody tuned in, we'll just discuss it. If we don't, we'll do it as a quiz.
Yeah, no.
So it's your choice.
We can.
What'd you say?
So Nathan said the Alps mountains have to do with which countries?
Austria and
Austria and
Switzerland.
Switzerland. Italy wasn't one of the countries.
Oh, yeah.
Although they are in Italy too. Okay, what else can you tell me about one of these countries?
Germany has started a lot of wars,
That's true.
Okay, Germany has a history of military aggression.
and they
Definitely.
hate a certain type of people.
What else? What else can you tell me?
What's in Che?
Did you say Chang?
You said you.
Yeah, I said
German
Che.
hated the Jews.
Oh, I thought you said Chang. I was really confused. Public execution.
That's all you can tell me?
Oh,
I
have
don't
more.
know.
I have one
Capital
for
is
Switzerland.
Berlin.
Sure, I have even more facts. I have one for Switzerland.
What?
Tommy could be, or is that Polish?
No, that's Poland.
Poland. Okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
no, no.
Israel, I have a lot more facts about Germany I can say.
Switzerland is similar to the Benelux countries in this term that you should know.
Peaceful.
They killed people.
They don't
Okay.
have wars.
This means what?
They don't. They stay out of
They're
wars.
in the
They,
middle.
they stay out of wars. Now the difference is Switzerland has been able to do it while the Benelux countries have not. Why?
Ooh, Mr. Hill, pick me.
I know.
Because that's like during World War II, for example, that countries were between Germany's supply line. So
There's another geographic reason.
Because Switzerland is up in the mountains.
It's mountainous. Okay?
It wasn't worth.
Don't even want
It
to
wasn't
go there
worth it
anyways.
to try to.
So it'd be too difficult to try to take over. Belgium, primarily the Netherlands, is the one that throughout history has always tried to maintain its neutrality and hasn't been able to because it's a flat country. I'm going to show you some slides. I was able to be in the Netherlands and bike on some of their roads. And
Norway would.
if you want a great place to ride a bike, it's the Netherlands.
Oh, yes, because, you know, I just have some
It's
tips.
also a great place in the winter time if you like to ice skate. They use the canals in the Netherlands to travel in the winter because you can ice skate from one town to the next.
Oh my God, I am going to the Netherlands.
I think you guys read a book about that, maybe. Maybe not.
I've
Sixth
never
grade, they
skated
used to
before.
read a book about ice skating.
What's it called?
Okay, I can't remember.
What are the other,
So we're gonna watch. I'm gonna show you a few of my slides. You'll see the musical and Mr. Hale's great acting ability. The good thing about our musical
Here, get the light, Luke.
is I had no speaking parts.
Aww.
Luke, get the light.
Dang it. Who got the?
Luke, slash light turn off.
There are very few.
Yes, Luke Rankin.
It was more a symbolic. You have to
Thanks,
watch
Bethel.
it.
Thanks, Luke.
Maybe
Yeah.
someday I'll bring in the CD and see
did it.
if you can figure it out. I'll post it online maybe.
I can just.
Let's have, I need a smart board clicker.
I'll do it.
Me, please, Michelle, please. How about you,
It's
Ryan?
the easiest job.
Lucas is really good at it. He can click a mouse. I can do it.
You wanna be my smart board clicker, Lily?
No,
Sure.
no. No, she appoints me it.
Okay.
Do that.
Don't do it. Don't do
Go.
it.
Do it.
Do it yourself. You got it.
No,
Lily,
don't,
please.
don't.
I'll give you
no,
the
no.
Spanish homework I don't want to do.
Oh, that's disrespectful.
Stop getting touched if you can get it off.
Whoa. Disrespect. I like how you actively vocalize what you say.
So, this is the Netherlands. It's one of the flattest countries in the world. It has a lot of land that has actually used to be what?
Underwater.
Used to be underwater.
Yes.
What is it called?
It's that.
You should know.
Wait, so the
Glacial.
Netherlands are flat?
Okay?
Yeah. But it's mountainous.
They're
Like
called
a-
polders.
Switzerland's mountainous.
The Dutch are very ingenious.
I'm Dutch.
So here
Shut up, Liz.
I'm not
is the
sure.
coastline. Let's say the coastline went like this. They would build a dike across this and pump out all of this water. So this now could be what?
Now, it's.
This can be used for land and for farming. And what's the primary product in the Netherlands? What are they famous for?
Beer.
Whiskey.
They're next to Germany, so it's gotta be beer. Brandy.
They do have some of the largest brewers. A lot of, like Budweiser and things, are actually owned by Dutch companies.
It's because don't even try me.
Okay? Flowers. Tulip, the tulip is the symbol of the Dutch along with the windmill.
Wait, what is Puerto Rico?
And again, the windmills are the big armed windmills that you might have seen. And have the big spans like this on them. Have you seen those
Oh,
windmills?
like an actual windmill?
Okay?
Isn't that
Or
German?
bad one there.
That's German.
What do they use the windmills for?
Power,
Do you really Belgium?
electricity,
What problem are they gonna have if they're doing this?
lots of wind,
No, they're gonna have lots of.
cold climate,
Because this land is actually what?
dry.
Wet, silky.
Below
Sea level.
sea level.
flooding.
So they're gonna have problems with flooding. They need to be able to control their water.
Build a wall.
And that's what the windmills do. They pump water. Just like our original windmills in the United States were used to do what?
Filter water.
They were used to pump water out of the ground. We learned this last year.
Totally.
Or maybe, obviously, we didn't learn it, but. Okay? There, water under the ground, it pumps the water up. This is to pump water to different places. That's why the country is filled with canals all over the place. So we flew in to Utrecht, okay,
You did?
right here. No, we flew into Amsterdam and drove to Utrecht.
Wait, is this a real story, Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Next slide. So this is some of the architecture that you're gonna find
Did you take that picture?
in
No.
the Netherlands.
You think
I
that-
believe this
No,
is
no, No, he would not.
one of the buildings in Utrecht. Next.
Is that just a building?
Did you take these, Mr. Hill?
No. There's no-
If it's a building, I could have taken it. If it's a door, my wife had this obsession with doors on this trip.
I don't know.
Why?
So she took a million pictures of doors, because she's an artist, so she sees something in her mind's eye.
And maybe they just, I don't know.
If you see any pictures of people, then I took them.
Hold your bird in.
Next.
Well, this is a person.
Another door.
That's
No,
not a door.
this is
that's
probably
a
one of
door.
mine.
That wasn't a door.
That looks like.
Again, you're gonna see canals
How
everywhere.
do you think it's a door? There's no
Next.
doors.
That's.
Leah entered in.
Oh, you're
Okay,
not
so
taking
this
one.
is
Yeah,
actually
that was
in
nice.
Amsterdam. We took a day trip to
How do you
Amsterdam.
take a picture of that?
So-
Maybe people not be
Look at that
sucked.
kid, he's like.
In Amsterdam, you can catch these are like
Lots of boats.
canal buses. So you buy a ticket and you have a bus, like a bus stop, but instead of riding the bus, you jump on this boat.
Yeah, for some reason I thought.
And the boat takes you to a different part and you can get off and get a transfer ticket just like you could do in the United States. So this
It
was
looks like you're on grass.
this was our party of a troupe that was in, most of them are in the musical. So she was the main person. This is my youngest daughter. This is my second daughter. This is my son who's now 26, just
Oh, I
got
was gonna
married.
What? This is
How do you
a
So you can
think
tell how long ago it was.
When was this?
Okay, this guy was from Ireland. He's from Jamaica. She's from Kansas City.
You know where all the people are from?
And these people, because they're all part of the musical. Okay, next. So throughout Amsterdam, again, you'll see this. They have drawbridges for the canal boats to get through.
That's it.
So if
What if
you're
that
on,
guy's
and the
walking
way you
through
get
this
around on
wall?
land is by bicycle usually.
I know some people always wanted to jump over
Next.
the rock and bridge.
So Amsterdam is famous for its museums. Who is the great
Anne Frank.
Dutch artist?
Anne Frank. He's from Amsterdam.
He's the famous Ash.
There is a house, I think I have a picture of the house of where Anne Frank stayed in Amsterdam.
Yes, we need to see that.
Yeah.
Rembrandt is one famous
Starts up Malta.
Dutch. The Dutch were famous for what artistic you should have read about in the chapter.
The Mona Lisa.
No.
And if you owned one of these paintings, you'd be very wealthy. 'Cause in other words, it doesn't show it exactly, it just gives you a partial look at what it is. What's
Oh,
that title?
abstract.
No, it's called Impressionism. So the Dutch were famous for Impressionism.
You know this.
That
but we pay
artistic.
attention in art lectures.
I'm giving you answers to the test too as you're doing this, Kate. Go ahead.
Give me a second, slow down. Good lunch.
Next. There's close up. So all the towns in Europe usually are faced like a square.
Where?
So in the center of town, you have a big area, probably the size of 2 football fields. But it's all cement or brick. And then surrounding that square are the government buildings, churches oftentimes. So most European cities are patterned after that style. So the cathedral. So in this square then, this is where you had various people trying to trap the tourists. They do juggling, they do other stuff and ask for money, they play songs, they might do a play. We never did a play in the square. Up here we did a play in one of the German towns, Leipzig.
Sure, when did you go there?
Next. So this, I wanted to show you a picture because you notice
Pioneers, like I was 6.
all the
He said he was 6
apartments,
years old. He's
all the
6.
apartments in Amsterdam have
21 years
this
ago.
on it.
We don't think just passing stuff.
Because
You just jump out your
the
window and get
hallways,
on there?
the hallways in these apartments are so narrow. So for your furniture, you couldn't get furniture in your place. So what they do is they bring the furniture up and load them over these, and these usually are open double doors, and they bring them in that way.
What if that wasn't, there weren't double
What if it
a guy
fell?
from my 600
Well, that's why
apartment
then
lived
you'd
in
have to
the
have
boxes?
lots of narrow furniture.
Does it ever fall?
And of course, the Dutch are famous for industry and being creative, so they
Or
could
could
probably
build
come
it
up with it.
inside.
Next.
It'd be pretty cool if you could just jump out your window and land on that
So
thing.
this is the square. So these are my 2 sons. They hate looking at these pictures today.
Cheryl,
Is he like 6 years old?
I think he was in 2nd grade, and he was like in 5th grade.
How old is the 5th grader now?
Okay.
Like,
when did you go there?
So you have to count back from there. I can't keep track that far.
How old are they
If
now?
he was 6 years old, like
27.
21 years
So
ago.
they're 27. In 5th grade, you're about.
So how old are you in 2nd grade?
You're
6.
No,
No,
no, you're not
you're
7.
eight.
You're 7 and 8. Yeah, 7.
So-
That means it's like
It's been 20 years ago.
20 or 19. So we're
Okay.
not even
You want
born.
nine.
I had a passport at that time, so.
So you went. So this
I'm
is
just like-
And I got it right there. How long's the passport last?
Why are they not wearing
5
masks?
years.
No,
Yeah, why
I
are
think it
you guys
lasts
wearing
10 for
masks?
adults.
That's illegal.
So,
Okay.
so this was 1990.
Next. So that's one of the squares. This, so you can see how most of the people get around in Amsterdam.
Where's yours?
Okay? We were tourists, so we didn't have a bike. You could rent them, I suppose.
All
if
I
you
care
wanted.
about is what is the food like here?
But
Who wants to go
you
with
see
me?
a lot of people, they would paint theirs orange or yellow or
Yes.
neon pink. Not because they thought it was a cool color, is why.
They could
So
see.
you get out, you can find your bike, because all these bikes look the same.
But you need to be inside.
Next. This is another unique bike. It's really a trike. It's really a trike,
It
so
looks like it's super fast.
so it's a pedal pusher. So this opens up. This opens up, and you guys have, when you're little kids, you used to have those cars that you push like this.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
I'd be so tired.
It's
Oh,
for
I think I
adults,
will.
so
Bro, I
it's for
was
adults.
rich. I
This
want
isn't
those
original.
things.
I saw this.
That's the thing. All the cars in Europe that you're going to see are
Really small.
small, very tiny, and the roads are very narrow. So
What
I
about
drove.
SUV?
I drove a 15-passenger van
Wait, where's he again?
from Amsterdam to Leipzig,
Netherlands.
and that van was probably as small as one of our minivans, but it
15 passengers?
with 15 passengers. Okay.
That's
Next.
inhumane.
So again, looking at Amsterdam all along, this would be one of the, their boat stops or canal stops for like the bus. You come down here and you wait, and they show up and you get a ticket and you can go to a different part of Amsterdam. Now, at that time, 20 years ago, there are certain parts of Amsterdam you don't want to go around, like coffee shops in Amsterdam. Coffee shops weren't coffee shops.
They're muggers.
Coffee shops are where
Drug deals.
you get marijuana.
You
So
get
people
drunk.
are smoking marijuana out in the open because it was totally legal 20 years ago in Amsterdam. Of course, now it's becoming legal almost a lot of places.
Yeah. Oh, he told me about it.
And then different areas.
Pow.
You don't want to be in Amsterdam at certain times of the night. Okay? Next.
Anywhere in France.
So you can see the canals all over. Some people, right here, if you have a boat, it's very expensive to actually be able to tie your boat up to it. So if I lived in an apartment and had a dock slip over here, it's very expensive to do that. Some people,
I can just get a boat car.
they don't do a apartment, they actually live on the canal.
That
Their boat
sounds
slip.
cool.
I think I have a slide later that shows somebody doing that.
It's like 20 grand.
Go ahead.
30 grand.
I don't really know, I don't
Go.
really know.
I'm kidding.
Your wife?
The major church of the Netherlands,
Eastern Orthodox.
okay, is the Dutch Reformed. It's a Protestant church. They broke from the Catholic Church. So Netherlands is about 50-50, 50% Protestant and 50% Catholic. Okay, France we know was primarily what?
Catholic.
Catholic, although many are just nominal. Okay, the Netherlands about 50%. Belgium is probably a little more Catholic than Luxembourg. So the Benelux countries are about 50-50. Germany also is 50-50. If you're in the northern part of Germany, it's Protestant. If you're in the southern part of Germany, you're Catholic. And then the Alpine countries are more Catholic. Although Switzerland is 50-50. Okay, next. So this is 4 of my children.
Is that young, Mrs.
So my
Oh,
oldest
he's
daughter
holding
is
a
not
mirror.
in this picture. So if he's in 5th grade, I think she's probably a 7th grader.
Okay.
And then she was either 8th grader.
Stop.
That little kid looks like Leah's younger brother.
Next.
He kind of does.
So this is looking in the square, again, all the buildings, the cathedrals and the shaping of the old architecture with the
That's
modern.
the smoke.
Next. Again, because it's a tourist area, you can also rent these. You can do this in Minneapolis too. They have these down in Minneapolis.
What did the horse got hit?
Okay?
Then
Next.
rip the horse.
Like sex or the
Of
horse.
course, I didn't rent one, even though my wife would have liked
Oh,
it.
he made a friend.
So he's our other actor. So my 2 sons and he and I were the clowns in the musical.
What was his
You're a
name?
clown? We have to see that musical.
What's his name?
I will buy the musical.
This is Jabari.
Jabari.
I'll schedule like 6
Is
years.
he from,
20 years.
Okay?
That's impressive.
Is he
It's
from
gonna be
Jamaica?
Next. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or his parents were.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what
they had a retreat outside. This is outside of Utrecht in a small village in the Netherlands. And so we performed the musical outside. Most of the times we did the musical, it was outside. This is the only day in all the days we did it that it actually rained a little bit. That's why we have these up here. We brought people from the audience out to participate. I took this picture to show, again, see this brickwork?
Yeah, it must take a while.
Okay? This is all over the whole town. So all their roads are this way. All their driveways are this way.
Wouldn't that take like...
So if you have one of these, how many have one of these at your house? Okay, if it wasn't there before, if you had to do it today, it would cost what?
A fortune.
Lots of money, because it takes a lot of money to be able to put it together. But all their roads are these pavers. Next.
There's something like that in modern days. We need to see a picture of you.
Can I just see a picture of young Mr. Hill already?
Okay. Next.
It's gonna be like the same. This is Mr. Hill.
How'd you get so high up?
So this is, again, it's
What's the climate in the Netherlands?
Wait, you brought a drone. Did you
the
bring a
Netherlands
drone?
usually has a marine climate, so it doesn't freeze a whole lot, but sometimes in the winter it freezes. That's why they can ice skate on the canals.
Did you bring
Okay,
a drum?
we went in the summer, of course.
Mr. Hill's 8-8 in this picture.
Next.
Bruh.
Next, somebody must have made my wife take.
No, there's two other kids.
You got front row seats.
So when we stayed, this was like from the Middle Ages. This is one of the Lord's manors.
That's the house.
Okay, somebody at the community, the Christian community we were staying with, owned this house, and they basically use it for people that visit or rent out. So this whole floor, it's made up of apartments. There's apartments here. There's apartments here, and then back behind there's a horse stable they've made into apartments. So I stayed in the horse stable.
By choice.
Well, they said this is your room. I said great.
Right. Thanks,
Next.
guys.
Right on the outside.
So there's a close up of the.
Door.
So again, amazing architecture, amazing buildings that they have. Pass next.
And it's a door. And a door.
Next.
Next.
Yeah, let's watch the video.
Next,
Video.
Marine.
go back to the one that says Leipzig at the bottom on the PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Go back. Yeah,
There's another PowerPoint one.
Yeah, bot. Do it.
I will
Bot.
smack you
And
if you
Upski.
say the word bot.
And
You're a nubski.
You know, when I think of Nubsky, I think of a guy that has no arms or legs.
We're trying to switch off.
What?
No,
He just,
Steve.
he just
No.
rolling down the hill.
Go to slideshow from the beginning.
Yeah, how, I don't know.
They
There's
just
room
take
on,
his
I
skis
guess.
aside.
Oh,
Personal.
stick the skis to like his shoulders or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, they just stick the skis to his back and just shoot him down the hill.
Okay,
He goes up and jumps.
so
Wait, what?
here's Utrecht. This is where we were.
No.
And we're going to perform the musical in Leipzig, which is over here.
So there's a lot of different canals you can get
So we've got two 15-passenger vans,
That's a long.
It's
and
just
we
weird the way roads
drove
are.
all the way over here to Leipzig. Now, when you drive in German roads, there are no speed limits. In fact,
Oh, that's amazing.
it's called their main highway. Okay, their main highway.
The Autobahn.
It's called the Autobahn.
Told
Oh, jeez.
Okay,
A Tesla side, but not.
there are no speed limits on it.
Like,
So I had the van.
and stuff.
going 150.
It's all in kilometers, so you'd have to do that in your mind, and I couldn't do that. But I had it as my pedal to the floor, and cars were zooming past us.
You could have got like killed.
And again, the roads.
How'd
See,
you not
if you're
die?
used to U.S. roads, you're used to, like on our roads, you could
30
actually,
minutes.
on a 2-lane highway, you can actually get how many cars through there?
4.
You actually could fit 4 cars on our 2-lane highways. Okay? But their highways are like half of our highways. So when you're going past somebody, if you're past somebody, even the 4-lane highways, that's how much. You don't have much room in between.
The
So you
Autobahn
cannot
8
Okay.
lanes.
What if you went like?
Yeah, what if you drifted like inches? You just.
You could have been like.
You probably have a crash. I was definitely worried at times.
Why don't you go
Plus,
slow?
Let
plus
someone else
road
drive.
constructions, okay? Plus, on the highways, some of these highways they're not like ours. Most of our highways, you go and then you go around the town. So I'd be on a freeway, which is 4 lanes going one, and then all of a sudden you're stopping because it goes through a town where there's stoplights all the way.
Why do they do
Then
that?
it goes back to the 4-lane highway.
What if there's
Okay.
like a Lamborghini going 300 miles an hour and just kills again?
Well, they must know how to drive better. Okay, next, because they're used to it. We saw these all over. Osfart. We said, where's this town at? Osfart. It's like everywhere we turn, there's an Osfart. Till we learned what this word means. Teach you some.
Gas station.
This means the same in Dutch as it does in German. Dutch and German are similar languages. So if you can speak German, they usually can understand the Dutch, and the Dutch can usually understand the German, even though it's slightly different. This just means an exit.
Mm.
And the joke is, this is where you go to get gas.
It's a gas.
Next. Of course, on the exit, if you do go in Europe, and you go to a restroom, even in gas stations, you better have some money on you.
Why?
They do that in Seattle.
Okay, because all restrooms gonna cost something. If there's usually an attendant, and that's their job. They're at the attendant. Their job is to keep the restroom clean.
Get you the
So
bathroom.
they expect you when you come in and use the restroom. They expect you to what?
Have money.
Give them a tip. And those that don't, then you have to pay toilet.
Hey, what?
That means you might have seen those before. The
Yeah, I think
stalls, the stalls have a lock on them. You got to put the coin in to get the lock open to go into the stall to go to the bathroom. Of course, if you don't have any money, what do?
Pee on the
You
street.
crawl under the stall, right? So I think I forced my children to do that. The other thing about Europe you need to know about is
Kill children.
when you're eating, we're used to having ketchup and things on our stuff.
I can't breathe.
Relish on everything.
That's like an insult. If you have to specifically ask for it, and if you ask for it, it's going to cost you.
Relish on everything.
There's no ice in your drinks, okay?
Why?
Defeats the whole.
Oh,
It's crazy.
I once got milk.
And again, I said the worst thing is there's no Mountain Dew. Okay, so this is, when we got to Leipzig, we stayed at a Protestant community. It's kind of unusual. Normally, Catholics are the only ones that have nuns. Okay, but this was actually a Protestant community that had a group of ladies who were like nuns.
Like
Yeah, we're
nuns,
part-
but not quite.
Well, they're not nuns because they don't have the same convents and things, but in terms of practice, they were doing the same things as, they were part of a community that were organized together, that worship God together. And so they had this huge area of land, again, that once belonged to a rich person. And this is the part of Germany, the one thing we didn't talk about Germany is that Germany was once two countries.
East and
From
west.
1945 until 1989, Germany was West Germany, which was what?
Nazi.
A democratic free country.
1945 to when?
And East Germany, which was a communist country. Okay? Influenced by the USSR, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics.
Yes, I said that.
So when we were going on the freeway, there was an exit, and we took that exit, where it used to be the separation between East Germany and West Germany. And there were guard towers and everything. Because even back then, people that were traveling back and forth, if you were doing supplies, you'd have to do one of these checkpoints. And again, if I'm coming from the west, which is free going into the east, there's a part of you might be thinking, what? When I deliver these supplies off, what
Will I get back?
am I going to get back?
Mr. Can I explain how it works? Is East Germans are not allowed to go into West Germany, but West Germany is allowed to go and they can come back. But it's still through the checkpoint crowd.
Okay?
And if you get caught bringing someone from East Germany off, you get the bop bop to the head.
Yeah, worse than that. Okay?
Public.
And there is definitely, now this was, let's say 20 years ago, that's what, 2000, the year 2000, and it became a free country in 1989,
Oh, that's not long.
okay? So that was still almost like 30 years, but you could still see the difference in the countryside between West Germany and East Germany,
Everything looks
okay? Because in West Germany where people had freedom, the colors are
So why
brighter,
is the atomic bomb
they
against,
built things back up.
uh,
In East Germany, things are
Japan instead of
darker,
desolate.
they're dirtier looking.
Well,
Wait,
Germany.
sure, we're talking about East Berlin.
Okay.
We're talking about Berlin.
No, we're
Both-
talking about
both Germany and this is true in Berlin. We didn't go to
Well, also,
Berlin, but
don't forget that Berlin
next
was
slide.
in East Germany.
so again, these are people. So this is the house that the nuns were living in. It also is a house that hid Jews during World War II. Next. So this would have been a barn back. They had beautiful lands. They've made this into apartments now.
Beautiful.
Next. So this is our.
You choose the
Please
bunker.
don't go off the left.
This is my oldest daughter. So these are the two couples from San Diego. This is a Dutch girl from Utrecht. So this is brother and sister from Northern Ireland. She's originally from Ireland. Her father wrote the whole play, and they moved their whole family to Minneapolis.
So she got the play part.
And then this is her oldest daughter. Next.
Who's the ginger?
Yeah, who's the ginger?
Ginger, what ginger? Go back. What?
Or
Which one?
right there,
The
the
girl.
ginger. Right above the.
Right next
Yeah.
to the dude.
You've already seen her. That's my daughter.
Oh. Your daughter's awesome.
This is my oldest daughter. This is my second oldest daughter.
Oh.
Next. So this is at the musical. This is my second daughter. Most of the musical is doing dance to this guy. The guy that's from Ireland wrote all these songs that have a spiritual meaning, and he put them all together into a play that have various dances to them. And it's basically about a Protestant girl who falls in love with a Catholic boy.
Yes, scandals.
And
Oh,
Is
nice.
that your son?
And when we talk about
That's his
Ireland,
girlfriend?
that's the next chapter we're going to talk about.
First of all,
We're going to see that that's a big problem in Ireland. That would never happen, okay?
It's her boyfriend.
Because of the fighting that's gone on between Catholics and Protestants. And so it's a musical about reconciliation. And they get married, and they have a child in the womb, and my oldest daughter plays the child in the womb symbolically.
your oldest
Okay.
son?
Is that her
That
boyfriend?
makes
How does
sense.
that work?
Is that her
Next.
boyfriend?
You have four of them?
No, Brayden. No.
Brayden.
Brayden.
So-
What the hell?
God, it's still Reaper.
So these two are the main characters. I guess she was the Catholic girl and he's the Protestant. And then this represents the
Grim
devil
Reaper.
Oh.
trying to cause disunity, trying to cause the fighting. My wife plays the devil
Natural habitat. Who's that girl on the bottom?
some of the time.
Wait, what?
This is my daughter.
Not their
Okay,
wife.
this is the guy that wrote the play.
The guy in the green?
Now, this is in the center of Leipzig, that town in West or East Germany. So again, it's a square area. It's right in front of the cathedral that one of the famous German composers.
Mr. How are you in East Germany?
Because this is 20 years ago when it's free. It's
Oh.
not East Germany anymore. Next. There's
Oh.
Mr.
Hey,
Hale's
look,
star,
it's foreign
right?
players.
Wait, is that you in the middle?
This is Mr. Hale.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
This is my son.
Yeah,
And
Mr.
this is
Hale's
my other
tall.
son. So our
You're
job
boss.
was to provide comic relief because the play is very serious. And we were coming in to provide comic. So when the baby is delivered, I do the delivery.
No, that's.
You're
So we bring up a blanket in front as the pregnant woman comes behind, and then I'm doing all
Screaming.
kinds of things. When we're in the U.S., we use a baseball glove. When we were in Europe, we used soccer goalie hand mitts to deliver the baby.
I can't let that. Baseball
Next.
glove base, more practical.
So this is the guy from Kansas City.
Oh,
He's the Jesus character.
He's tall.
He represents Jesus.
It's
Again,
Jesus.
so this is his dad. Oh, Mr. Hale's giving me his best side. Next.
what is he thinking?
So at the end,
Why is everyone
okay,
so tall?
the symbolism is
Oh.
the bride and the groom getting married. So my daughter represents the church,
Yeah, you're like, wow.
represents the church, and we have the big party at the end because reconciliation happens, and that's what happened. Then the clowns get to just. The good thing about being a clown, you could screw up and what? No one even know. They expected it. At one part of the play, I'm supposed to take this big long ribbon because each of these colors, that's why we were wearing this rainbow, represent a certain part of the play. It's not gay pride, okay? It wasn't about gay pride. It was about Jesus reconciling some of this. And so one of the part of the play is I'm supposed to take this big banner and I'm supposed to dance around the stage like this and to bring it back and put it over the thing. And I ran out with this big banner and caught it under my feet. And I went flying
And this is
and
how
landed
I
right on
was
my
today.
gluteus maximus. And everybody thought what? That was all planned. Next.
While the other actors are just staring at him.
Next slide.
Yeah, Mr.
Look at that artistic expression. Next.
It looks the same.
He's around the light for us.
So this is the big wedding scene at the end.
No aerosol is not gay.
Okay.
It's not gay. It's.
Next.
Why should you be
Have you? Okay.
So then the last part
Okay, now listen.
is
Mr. Hill.
you go out into the audience and you pull people in and they start asking questions. What's this all about?
Hill.
And that's where you get to share the gospel.
Germany and we're doing the
Next.
lesson.
This is actually the church. I believe it's. I know it's either one of the big B's. Who's the 3 B's in Germany? Music people, band people. Who are they?
Beethoven.
Beethoven,
Bach.
Bach,
Always.
What does he have?
Bush.
Brahms.
Well, not against
And the fourth famous composer is Wagner.
No, it's not.
believe-
It's Octane playing on his
I believe this might be Bach,
Or
if he's Leipzig. I'm not positive, but it's an old church now. It's not used anymore. But compared to, so this is like this is supposed to be the poor section of Leipzig that they're reaching out to, so this church just stands empty. And in the inside, a lot of the pews have been taken out, but nobody even uses it for anything. We changed to get ready for the musical in this church, but the stained glass windows are just amazing.
Yeah, why don't you
Okay.
use it?
Again, part of that had to do with under communists, when it was East Germany, this would have been what?
Burn.
It would have been closed or made into a museum.
Oh.
So most of the churches were done that. Next. So there's some of the stained glass you see. Next. So this is outside those nuns we told you about, the Protestant nuns. They had set up a shop in this poor neighborhood to reach out to people that were there. So this is after the musical,
Are we gonna be able to see the music?
reaching out.
Yeah, but sure. We're gonna watch the musical.
Yeah.
We still got like
I
15
paid good
minutes.
money to see that.
So when we stayed in Leipzig,
Come on, just show it.
we stayed in what would have been like either a nursing home or a hospital or something that this Christian group had purchased, and they're using it for retreats and missionary work. Like the bathrooms were like half of the size of our classroom
That's huge.
because people were in wheelchairs and things, and they had to wheel them around. So I had this slide to show you Germany's. This is breakfast in Germany. So breakfast in Germany, they'll bring out cold cuts like ham and salami. You have for breakfast. Okay.
You guys don't have salami for breakfast? You guys are all weird.
Wait, you guys
Bread,
don't have a salami
bread
for
again. If
breakfast?
you're in Europe, bread is going to be at every meal. If you don't have bread, that's like an insult. And again, the bread is meant, or meals are meant to be a social time. They were never short times.
Really?
Okay?
One of like 10 minutes.
I ate my entire breakfast.
My wife had the hardest time with the food in Europe. Even though she's probably the most outgoing person, this is my wife here. She's probably the most outgoing person. She had the most trouble with the food, and I love the food, so I had no problem with the food.
For your wife.
She probably suffered more cultural shock than I did.
How?
What's culture shock?
Tell your Korean daughter got.
It's a definition.
You just get uncomfortable. I wasn't. Well, part of it too is because I have German blood.
Taught you back.
So these guys
No.
weren't so popular because every morning
I've never
they'd wake you up with their trumpet
Take onto someone's shoulders.
playing reveille.
Get it? No.
Next, that's it.
We didn't watch the video. We have 10 minutes.
Okay,
Yes.
turn to
Let's watch
Oh no.
turn to page 325. Why don't you use the name? Hand sanitizer.
We looked at Mr. Hale's trip for
Boo.
like an hour.
Right here.
Turn to what?
Mr. L's notes for the
Okay, so I-
whole page. That's pretty good.
It seemed like Mr. had fun there.
Yeah, it definitely was. I never in my life expected to travel out of the United States. That's why we've had all these people come to our house and stay with us, because I figured that would be the way to get it done. And this shows you how God takes care of you. I had like $12,000 in my bank account
That's not very much.
That's a long time too.
when we started this musical. We took my 5 children and my wife and myself.
Playing.
We were in Europe for 6 weeks.
Instead of 12,000, he now has 12. 12. 12.
I think when we left, I had $1,000 in my bank account. When I came back, within,
12.
it was back up to where it was.
How?
From donations and things. We actually did the musical over in the old St. Joseph gym. So people from St. Joe's donated money for it. We did it we went to Cub Foods and stuffed groceries in bags and got, like you see some of your sports teams do.
You drew a lot of money by that.
Okay? So we did all kinds of fundraising to do it. And that's probably one of the big reasons my children today travel all over the world, or want to travel all over the world, because of that. But it definitely, if you want to learn about culture around the world, the best thing to do is to travel and live in that culture.
I take offense to when
So
you're
you're telling me that I
327.
should go to Europe for this.
Answer any of the questions you know. And they're going to end with the last thing on Germany, 25 things you didn't know about Germany.
For one, Hitler.
Why is it 1A? Because, yep. I don't know how to explain it, because he started, because of World War II, communism in Germany.
Not communism. Nazis would hate communists. They're opposite.
Kinda.
Not Israel.
Even though they look the same, they're actually opposite in terms of political philosophy.
I don't think so.
So you started World War II, the Holocaust. So we're all familiar with Hitler. I don't think you have to answer that one.
Okay, I'll pick for 1B. First of all was the fall of the Berlin Wall. The second was at the time the USSR was going to fall too.
So that's why 1989 is the day, because that's the year that the Berlin Wall.
Fell.
Shall we finish? And many countries around the time that were part of the Eastern Bloc were already falling.
So many people, when they knocked the Berlin Wall down, you remember they got pieces of it? I told you Mrs. Koziel has a piece of it. You know what people are called that knocked it? I think that was one of my bonuses last year.
Oh, wall breakers from Kosh Plains.
They're called wall peckers,
Oh.
because they were like woodpeckers taking parts of the wall down and as souvenirs.
Lucas, when did the Soviet Union begin?
Especially for Queen.
1989 was when the Berlin Wall fell down.
All of it.
That's also then when East Germany and West Germany began the movement to become Germany.
They didn't get reunified
Okay.
until 91.
Sam,
I know 2A.
2A.
Oktoberfest.
Oktoberfest, again, that's primarily in the southern part of Germany.
It's a major holiday.
That's the thing you're gonna see in Germany too. Beer is all over the place. The drinking age in Germany
15.
is
12.
16.
I'm heading to Germany, boys.
But
2
again,
more years.
they don't have the abuse of alcohol like we have here, because
That sucks.
again, it's so much a part of their culture. They know how to use it properly.
I'll use it properly.
Yeah, I'll see that.
Well, we dip eggnog in
Well, obviously they didn't know about that in World War II. Hitler was on the knife.
There's a lot of Christmas festivals too for Germany. That's what. So if we had a bilingual song for Germany, what would it be? So you saw the bilingual song for Spain, or for Spanish. What's the bilingual song for Germany?
All that in my
Oh, I have to play that
Oh,
song.
Tannenbaum, oh, Tannenbaum.
Oh,
we
oh, Christmas tree.
We have
Christmas
started.
tree.
Ich weiß durch's nicht, den Schnack sehen die.
I feel like you can play that.
I just made that up. I
Yeah,
don't know
okay.
what
No.
Yeah, always sings this song.
I had one foreign language in the 8th grade. Okay, that was it. Germany.
Good job.
I had to memorize this verse. Guten Tag, wie geht's?
I know some German.
That means what?
Good morning.
I only know
Good
it.
morning.
Hello, how are you? Wie geht's means how are you?
Sitzen
That's
Sie
on
sich.
your sheet, I believe.
I spoke at the
Guten Tag, wie geht's? Wer in das da drüben?
Hey, the only
That's
German
what
I
he said.
like is
That means,
Edward
who is that with
Richthofen.
you there?
Nathan, the only German I like
Okay.
is Edward Richthofen.
So who has another answer here?
The only German I like is.
We should know 2B. I told you that one. What's 2B?
Germany in the south is something,
Butler?
Germany in the north is a different thing.
The boy in the striped.
People in the north are what?
Christian.
They're all Christian, but people in the north are what?
Protestant.
Protestant. People in the south are Catholic.
Okay.
Remember, Martin Luther was from where?
Germany.
Germany.
All I know about Germany.
So the Protestant Reformation actually started in Germany.
1918, they built some big robots.
Number 3A.
Was Martin Luther born?
What's the chancellor in Germany? It's like their prime minister.
Wasn't, would they
Hitler.
survive?
So they don't call him the prime minister, they call him chancellor. I shouldn't say him because Germany's prime minister, or Germany's chancellor is what?
Female.
What's her name?
What's her name?
Stephanie Sue.
Sladolf.
Maybe I'll throw that as a bonus on the test. Number
Sladolf.
3B.
St. George.
Why has Germany's economy slowed?
There's a pandemic.
Again, this book is copyrighted in 2014, so it's Germany's economy is probably the best economy out of all of these. It is the most industrious, most powerful country of the European Union.
Currently.
Okay,
Fred did it.
but when this book was, it still was facing the effects of West and East Germany. Okay, making up for the lag behind of East Germany. Because under the communists were concerned about heavy industries. That means what?
Oil. stuff like
Steel
that.
production, military production, okay? Not light industries, which are the things that are consumer goods that we buy. That's the other thing that you're going to see big difference between Europe and the United States. I think I mentioned this before. If you go to our stores, okay, we're used to seeing so many different choices and huge stores. You're not going to see that in Europe.
You see little
Okay?
stores.
They're small stores. And people, when they buy food, okay, they usually are buying fresh food. So they're going to buy that meals, for dinner tonight, I'm gonna buy groceries that day. So you see a lot of shops right by the apartment places, small little grocery stores. Aldi's was the first Aldi's we went to was in Europe before they came to the United States.
Good job, Bobby.
They were a European company. Number 4A.
You guys know that Germany after
Cantons
Donald
are
Trump
districts
was-
and are located in Switzerland.
So they're like states.
Do you know that Germany found-
They're called cantons. That will be a matching on the test. Okay, now we're gonna watch this short video on 25 things you didn't know about Germany.
Do you know that Germany in 1918 built these big robots?
You guys have that?